So now we want to talk about how to monitor and evaluate. So you have all these plans, you have activities in place, you have timelines, as she's talked about. You've talked about resources, who is responsible for what.
That really helps you out to be more intentional on what is your plan for next year.
But you need to assess and evaluate, and that's where M&E comes in. So just to talk briefly about a results framework, that's the method that we've chosen for M&E. There are many methods out there that exist, and call it an M&E framework. It's really to collect data, to analyze data, to assess progress, to guide decision-making for strategic plans, for work plans, for annual plans. So there are a few key components of a results framework. How you're going to collect the data for the key performance indicators. Then also the results framework will contain the frequency of data collection. So not just the methods, but how regularly you're going to collect the data. And then the roles and responsibilities of the different M&E stakeholders, who's collecting the data for what exactly. So reverse a little bit back to the key performance indicators. I'm sure most of us have heard of them, if not all of us. They're literally just clear and measurable ways to check if your goals are being met. And so it's important to have KPIs, as we like to call them. How are they set? You pick one or more for each goal, for each objective. It depends on what it is that you're trying to achieve. That will help determine how many you want to put against each objective and each goal. And then you make sure that they're easy to measure and they're easy to understand. The idea of KPIs is just to help to see that you're right on track to reach the goals that you have set, or the priorities or the objectives. It's really just an indicator of success. So this is an example, literally like a visual of what a results framework would look like. Again, I mentioned there are different ways to track progress. This is the one we've chosen, and these are just examples that we've picked out. We have goals. Under the overarching goal, usually you have an objective. There are 2 examples there. And then, as I mentioned, KPIs, they help you measure. So it will be a number, it will be an amount, it will be a percentage, or it will be qualitative. Let's not go into that, but it's really up to you to decide what indicates success for you. Then we have the data source. How are you going to prove or support? I know in the milestones and indicators that you have under the grant, we have the means of verification. That's really just what it is. What's the data source to verify your information? Then how regularly are you going to collect the data? Who is responsible, a baseline, and then what it is that you want to reach, maybe at the midterm, maybe at the end term. And to bring it back into strategic planning, we've talked about having your SMART goals, your SMART priority areas that you want to work on. After your SWOT analysis, after your PESTO analysis, you've decided this is what you want to work on. So you form that into a priority area, into a goal, and then you have an objective. What is it that you want to achieve? A lot of you have already what it is that you want to achieve with such specificity, timelines, and all that. Then you have an indicator of that success. And then this all fits into that. So you have a work plan on how to execute, and then the results framework on how to measure. The results framework, it's just really to emphasize that it's used at midterm or end term stage. Again, the regularity of reviewing a strategic plan is really up to you as an organization, but it provides a structure. It helps you know what you want to track, when you want to track it, and how it will help. And what you see there is just the components of a results framework. We've talked about the KPIs, we've talked about how it helps with progress tracking, so you're able to compare targets, where you were at the beginning, where you are at midterm. It also helps you to understand where the unmet goals are. If you're assessing, then you know what it is that you've not been able to achieve. Do you need to change course if for whatever reason you haven't achieved what you've set out to? And then feedback. You get feedback from the people that you're targeting. I mean, our strategic priorities target many different groups of stakeholders. So that feedback also helps when you're doing that assessment to know what it is that you think as the recipients. And then lastly, it's effectiveness. After you've done all this, you're then going to know, am I really achieving what I've set out to do? If I'm not, then that's when the strategic adjustments come in. You're able to evaluate your performance. So yes, I hope I haven't loaded too much, but in a nutshell, that's really what the results framework is about.